Hello, hello. We are live. We are well and truly live, and it's I'm Neil Long,
And I'm Liz Saul.
and we are live today for the midday show for the Monday. Russ can't be here today, so I got this one filling in for Russ. They look so similar, and lots to talk about today, and including what you want to talk about. So we do some chats and hellos to start with. Just introduce yourself, tell us you're there, so we can connect with you in cyberspace. And say hi. There's a bunch of people just come into my studio, which is very bizarre. And then I was trying to shut the door without being noticed, and in doing so, becoming really noticeable because they're trying not to be noticed.
It's like, do you remember that Sky News clip where the poor professor was trying to do a very serious interview about something, and all of a sudden one of his children burst into the study through the door?
It wasn't so much the children bit that was funny. It was his wife panicking and skidding on the wooden floor to try and get the children out.
Yeah,
which was certainly a lot more fun than anything he was doing, I have to say. So
poor man.
Poor man. But who have we got? Who have we got?
Who have we got to say hello to?
Yes, just going to pop that along the bottom. There we go. Any hellos? Don't be shy. Tell us you're there. We'd love to hear from you. It's quite a nice day here in the UK. I've been to Italy. You know what makes me laugh about the Italians? So we're on the coast in Italy. Food is the best.
Which coast? It has quite a lot of coast, you know.
It was the coast near Telemare.
Okay.
Because my geography is not good at the best times.
Tuscany.
I know,
You need to look it up.
Yes, I know. Yes. Hence the phrase about as working class as a second home in Tuscany. I love that phrase. Anyway, so the weather, 24 degrees, and bit like it is here at the moment. Bright, but a little bit cloudy, but 24 degrees. It's not that warm here, but 24 degrees and bright and cloudy in the sense like it is here. And then the sun will come out and it was even a little bit warmer. And they're going, bad day, we're not going to the beach. I'm thinking, what? So, in the UK, there would be a stampede to the beach at this point. We'd be just like, ding, like one of those dusts of cloud you see in cartoons. But no, not in Italy. But the food is absolutely delicious. And we got some comments. Who have we got today? Kimmy Lashmar, how are you? She's a fan of Ken Bruce, but I'll forgive her that.
She's come to listen to you, so...
No, yeah, she's a fan of me as well.
Hello, Karen Shortland. Lovely to see you.
Kaz, how are you? Really lovely to see you as well. Karen, have you heard the Bon Jovi song? I played it on Radio Jackie as a one-off. It's called Kiss the Bride. And it's a song he recorded for his daughter's wedding. And the words are just so beautiful. It's like a real good Bon Jovi ballad. I think it's on the lake. Because at the actual wedding, his daughter said, Dad, imagine saying that to Bon Jovi, Dad. And Dad, you've got to release that. It's a really beautiful song. It's not the Elton John song, I Want to Kiss the Bride. It's not a cover. It's a
unique song.
And
it's a lovely ballad.
And it's really, really good. Kimmy Lashmar, I love your breakfast show. You are a poor, misguided woman, Kimmy. But you will reach levels of maturity one day, and you'll look back at and love your old self that used to be a fan of my breakfast
and
show.
If you did wanted a more mature breakfast show, you'll sometimes hear me reading the news on BBC Surrey.
That wasn't an excuse for a free plug for the BBC, mate.
Actually, we're all up. In all seriousness, it's elections are only 3 days away, so we're all up to our eyes in it. So it's actually quite a relief to be doing this today.
No, we can't talk about elections in the sense that we have to. That what we can talk, we can say that there's an election, and we can probably give you a bit of behind the scenes stuff of how it works. If that interests you, what happens in the news department, we can talk about that if you find that interesting. If you like a little insight into the world of radio, and I'll throw to this one to let her do it. We can't influence you in any way, though. We can't say vote this or vote that. No. It's against the law. It's when there's an election period. It used to be called a purdah period. I understand that's changed now, but it relatively recently was called purdah, and we're not allowed to talk about it basically because we can't influence you in any way.
I think it's just to simplify things, really. It's now just called the election period or the pre-polling day period or pre-election period, and it's because people are turned off by politics. I think you talk to the average person, it's like, politicians, they're all full of rubbish, blah 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 blah. And I think in simplifying what things are called and why they happen, it's to try and engage general public a little bit more.
I find it quite interesting what goes on in the radio stations. It's a real effort. You go in the next morning, you see empty pizza boxes there because people have been there all night, and maybe the management have been generous. Yes, okay, you can have a Domino's as a thank you for coming in. That sort of thing.
You've done an extra 12 hours. Here's one pizza.
Yeah, right. But we can give you a little bit of insight into that if you like. Graham Pack. Man of a million bad jokes. Glad to join you today. We're having a break from a day all dear from an 8-day property court hearing that I'm involved in. Well, we hope that goes well for you, Graham. And it wouldn't be the same without your bad jokes, which we could then mock and sort of barrack each other through. We? You haven't seen his jokes. You wouldn't need to ask if you'd seen this man's jokes.
Well, maybe because he's a little more polite to me, perhaps, usually.
Nah.
Maybe sitting with you, that might change.
No, he's an equal opportunities barracker, but it is quite fun barracking each other through cyberspace, so we quite enjoy that.
Oh, yes.
Good. So do you want to talk about what goes on behind the scenes when it's elections?
With elections,
radio stations?
The interesting thing that you will notice is on polling day, which is this Thursday, July the 4th, it's also American Independence Day, which for us is quite useful because the thing is on any broadcast media outlet, you cannot talk about anything to do with the elections other than to say that there is an election and that the polls open at 7 in the morning and the polls close at 10 o'clock.
You can say don't forget to vote.
Yes, you can say don't forget to vote. Although there again, you wouldn't necessarily say don't forget to vote these days because it's people's choice to vote or not. Australia, for example, has compulsory voting. If you don't vote in an election, they can find you and fine you for not voting. But here you have a choice. You can choose.
It's not very democratic, is it?
Well, you can choose not to vote at all.
No, in Australian
election.
To vote.
You have to vote.
Yeah, if you have to vote, that's not particularly democratic, is it? Really? It's not really democracy.
I suppose so.
If you're being forced to vote.
No, but you can go and vote for nothing as long as you go and vote.
Oh, I see. Okay, fair enough.
And there are people here that will go along and they'll write on their ballot papers none of the above, therefore invalidating their ballot paper, but they'll still do it. But it's one of the only things you can say is that, you can get polling stations are open. You can go and cast your vote. now. You can look up all the candidates that are standing in your area. So BBC, ITV, Sky, GB News, they will all the different main media outlets in the UK and obviously the newspaper online as well. They will have lists of the candidates in your area. So it may be that you're not quite sure who to vote for. But the only thing we can say is a full list of candidates is available on X website, So you have to find other things to talk about on polling day. For me as the news editor at BBC Surrey at the moment, acting news editor, sort of looking at what else we can talk about. And as I said, it's fortuitous that it's American Independence Day. And actually in Surrey, where we're based and where we live as well in different parts of Surrey, there's quite a big American expat community here. You've noticed this, I think, from doing gigs at the American school, am I right?
Ages ago, DJing.
And so you have lots of there's lots of Americans who live in this area. So actually, we've been out and about and sort of preparing for this, talking to expats who live in the UK. And actually, I've got a cousin who's coming from America to study in the UK. So I've talked to her ahead of her coming here in a couple of months' time. And so you make an interesting show that's essentially not about the election. So actually, if you're not engaged in the elections or you're sick of hearing about politicians, other than the fact that you can go and vote and that watch the politicians going and voting, we'll be talking about everything else.
I'm looking for something that might be relevant to the show, so ignore me. You carry on for a bit. Suddenly had an inspiration.
Yes, Graham Packer said it's good to see that there's at least one proper broadcaster on the show today. Was that the reason you were making rude gestures?
That's the reason I gave him the finger, yes, absolutely.
So childish.
Yeah, well, I take it he was having a go at me. If not, I'll let Liz deal with you, which would probably be a lot worse than anything I would do, Graham. So I would be a little careful here if you value your life.
And Graham has also said that this court hearing, which we won't delve into too much because we don't want to get done for contempt of court, but you're being called upon as an expert. So,
sorry.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
I hope that they find your expertise useful, is what I was going to say.
Yes, I'm sure they will, Graham, and it probably are very much due a break, actually. So tuning into us, if I can imagine how heavy going court cases are. So tuning into us for a bit of light relief. It's very nice to have you along, sir. Keep barracking. We'd miss it if you didn't. So that's basically election day, and as I say, Domino's pizza boxes on the.
Actually,
all
well,
around.
that's after 10, you see, because what's interesting is I've covered quite a few elections from different places. So as a reporter, I've been to election counts, and it is really exciting. Election day itself, yes, you go and vote, and that's about it. The thing to first of all look out for is that as soon as Big Ben strikes 10, the exit polls are released, which is a straw poll of results, essentially, that then kind of predicts what the initial result might be.
And there's many predictions, there's many pundits,
but this is the official exit poll.
The official one,
official government exit poll, official exit poll that's sort of taken a handful of votes from all across the country. I think it's so many thousand.
How accurate is it generally?
Actually, it's not been too bad. I think the one I remember off the top of my head is the exit poll for the referendum predicted that it would be a slight in favour of leaving the EU. And nobody really wanted to believe it until it got to about 4 a.m. and obviously lots more results had come in, and it was like, actually, and it ended up being something like 52%.
Can I talk about the Burger King advert? Because I think it's really clever. Am I allowed to say that in election period?
You can. I don't think Burger King is standing for Parliament, although you might want to check whether he supports bin face, and he's standing in Yorkshire.
Okay, I'm just going to take this off air for a second while I say that.
Yes, because it's not, well, arguably it's not aimed at any particular party.
No, okay. Burger King have come up with an absolute genius advert, and I do. We're bombarded with advertising nowadays, but I do like a really good advert. I think, oh yeah, that's really clever. Wish I'd thought of that. And it's an advert for Burger King, and it's a picture of their Whopper burger, and the caption is, and it's on the side of buses. It says, "Another Whopper on the side of a bus. Must be an election." I thought that was absolute genius on
really
burger.
Good.
And I do love a good Whopper with onion rings.
Going back to what I said about in Australia that you have to go and vote. It's just going to the polling station to register that you've gone there, you see. So you don't actually have to cast a vote, but you do have to go along to the route. Thank you very much for that clarification.
God, that's a real ball ache, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you were trying to count steps, you could use it as part of your routine walk, I suppose.
Yes, I suppose you could. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to the post office anyway. I'll just go and nip there.
Yeah, right.
On the way. It's not that exciting. Actually, you mentioning and checking, it's interesting that you checked about adverts and things, because actually in the UK, and I was having this discussion with an American chap that I met on holiday while you were sunning yourself in Italy. I was sunning myself in Portugal.
Very nice.
And that was beautiful as well. But there was an American chap there on business, and we got round to talking about the various elections, because of course American presidential elections have started to ramp up. They had a presidential, they had a presidential debate a couple of days ago, and lots of discussion around both candidates for different reasons. But what's interesting about the UK is that the the rules around elections, but not just elections, but the rules around political advertising are a hell of a lot stricter than they are in America. If you've ever been to America, you'll see that there are plenty of adverts where they'll say, so-and-so is a liar, so-and-so did this, so-and-so had an affair with somebody or other. And it's all on massive billboards all over the place, or massive adverts, you know, and down the side of motorways, the highways and everything else. And here, that's simply not allowed. They're very strict with advertising standards, that everything advertised has to be factual. So you can't just put up a massive poster saying Rishi Sunak is this, or Sir Keir Starmer is that, or for balance, Sir Ed Davey is something else. It all has to be truthful and accurate. Yeah. So, for example, I noticed the Reform Party had a billboard on the side of the M25, and it says, "We want to make the Tories cry." Now, the thing is, that's not actually, it's slightly derogatory perhaps towards the Tories, and it's stating what the Reform Party might think of the Tories, but it's not inaccurate, and they can get away with it by saying that.
And they're just tipping their toe over the borderline, aren't they? Rules for game shows, not game shows, reality shows, like Jeremy Carl's show.
Yes, reality shows
are different in America as well. You remember the Jerry Springer show, and it was all crazy. So I've been having an affair with your wife, who's actually a man, and then of course they pick up chairs and start hitting each other. But they were most likely, I'm 99% convinced, all actors, because you are allowed to hire actors to portray things like that in America, apparently. In the UK, you're not. So all the people on Jeremy Kyle were actually genuine. And there's quite an interesting documentary. I think it's called Death on Daytime TV, because that poor chap killed himself, didn't he? After being basically publicly shamed, and that was why ITV canned the show. But there was some insight with the people that worked on the show, producers and stuff like that, and what they did to get people in the mood for fighting, because that's what they want. They want the confrontation, they want the drama, they want the fighting, and they would get them drunk first of all, and then basically shit stir and just stir things up, so they were all as annoyed with each other as possible before they came on stage. And they were thinking about it afterwards, retrospectively, and thinking that wasn't really like my best move. They were conscience was pricking, perhaps unsurprisingly so after that. But the show's been canned now. I did used to watch it. Well, my daughter loved watching it. If she was ever over, it's Jezza has to go on at 9:15.
Actually, one of my cousins liked watching that as well, and was very excited and found him very interesting and stuff. But these things are a can of worms, and I think the reason that it's highlighted and the reason that the show was cancelled as well, we're much more concerned and aware as we are on this show. And Neil, you do very much a lot around mental health, particularly on a Wednesday.
Yeah, we've eased back a little bit on that now, because it seems to be the audience wanting other things, and that's fine. But we can do mental health anytime you like. Well,
this is it. But I think generally people are more aware of others' mental health, and people are aware of their own mental health. So actually, perhaps having a game show like that was of its time.
Maybe, but it's baiting. It's like dog fighting, isn't it? Pretty much, except with human beings. It's not great, is it?
Well, some might argue we still have shows like that, but they're dressed up as things like Love Island.
Yes, well, we still have drama in TV shows.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want sunshine and unicorns all the time. We need a bit of drama to make things interesting. But wiping the screen won't clear it. You have to do the camera. That's that bit there.
Oh no, it's all right. Yeah, it was the screen as well.
No, just kidding.
Neil had a bag of crisps, and half of them are on the screen of the computer now.
So little straw poll. I don't want to know who you're voting for, because you're not allowed to do that. But I do want to know if you've decided who you're voting for. So just pop a yes in the chat window. Robert and Kimmy and Karen and Graham.
And anyone else?
And anyone else that's listening, because the numbers are really good today. Just pop a yes in the chat window and let us know if you have decided who you're voting for on Thursday. We don't, and if you do write the name of the person or the party, we won't read it out, because we're not allowed to.
Graham has now seemingly gone on to a jokey.
I don't think we can read that.
We can read it out, but these are Graham's views alone. I shall leave it to you.
No, I'm gonna do an edit on that one, Graham.
Okay.
So Graham's decided who he's voting for.
So has Kimmy.
And so has Kimmy. Has Karen.
And Karen has casted her postal vote.
You're organised one, aren't you, Kaz?
Now it's interesting, Karen, actually, that you mentioned postal voting, because there are thousands of postal votes. I was reading the news over the weekend, and this was came up on Saturday in the morning, that the Royal Mail and some people have not got their postal votes yet. And obviously that's a little bit worrying. My dad and stepmum and family decided to do postal voting. And their postal votes actually arrived a couple of weeks ago. I think around the same time they closed the...
Yes.
Just after, when they should arrive, just after they closed the...
Something to show you in a minute.
Okay. Close the date for candidates to put themselves on the ballot papers. That's normally 3 or 4 weeks before the election. So when that closed, they can then print out the ballot papers for each individual constituency. And if you have asked for a postal vote, they'll then send it to you. So my dad and stepmom and everyone else in that household, they got their postal votes a couple of weeks ago. There are some people who, up to Saturday just gone, had not received their postal votes. Now, the ballot, as I said, polling day is this coming Thursday. That's 3 days away. And if you still haven't got your postal vote by then, what I would suggest is, if you are able, you can still go to the polling station on the day. However, the clips and the people that were interviewed by the BBC on Saturday were concerned that, the reason they got a postal vote is because they were going on holiday. And so they are now not able to vote at all. Now, in theory, if you've made an official complaint about that, then the Electoral Commission has to look into that, because you're not being allowed to exercise your democratic right because of a third party, and that third party, for whatever reason, is the Royal Mail. So everyone's trying to sort that out. Watch this.
Well, the Royal
space.
Mail haven't had any scandals. I mean, they'll be able to sort it out, won't they?
Now.
I thought you might be interested in seeing these. These are Italian snacks. Okay, this is what you buy in the grocery stores in Italia. Sfocolatina patata. It's easy for me to say, and they look like this. They're like little
seashells.
Little seashells, and they're and they taste like kind of pom bears. Chrissy says hello from Salar. Hot again. She said, if I could vote, it would be, and then she's named a party, but we're not going to do that. I don't know if you tuned in earlier, Chrissy, but we're not allowed to influence in any way.
We're not allowed to influence in any way, but if you individually have said publicly who you're going to vote for, that's fine.
Oh, is it?
An individual. Yes, and it's only on polling. You have to be balanced. This is the thing. You can say, so for example, Graham was saying something about Thread Davy. You can go and look at that comment if you're on the platform that Graham is, which is YouTube. Chrissy has mentioned about the Reform Party there. As long as you balance it out, for us as broadcasters, we have to balance it out. So I've already talked about all the main party leaders. I mentioned Rishi Sunak, Sir Keir Starmer and Thread Davy. So long as during the course of a broadcast, which for us is until about 1 o'clock, we mention all parties. We're not saying to you, vote for this one, vote for that one. We're simply stating, here are some of the candidates, here are the party leaders. And actually, just for the purposes of accuracy and balance, if you wanted to go to one of the main media outlets, such as BBC website, Sky News website, GB News website, or any newspaper website as well, ITV, ITN News website, you can see the full list of candidates for your area on each website.
Graham Pack, are you not covered by Ofcom? Are you covered by their regulations? Or is it a problem for Liz as a BBC employer? I'll let Liz answer the question for her.
This is it. It is all covered by Ofcom, and for the reasons I've just
on
explained.
The BBC.
Yes, on the BBC.
On the BBC and on Radio Jackie as well, where I work. I'll let you answer the second part first, and I'll tell you about that.
Yes, all UK broadcast outlets and media outlets are covered by Ofcom and their regulations. Newspapers have slightly different regulations. Online have slightly different regulations again. But even in the UK, and I'm sure everyone wanted to see that, even in the UK, all broadcast or publishing outlets are covered by Ofcom regulations, and there's extra when it comes to elections. But as I've just sort of described and spoken about, even on a show like this, we are following general broadcast and election guidelines.
We are, but we're not covered by Ofcom on here.
No.
But
there are general regulations.
There's regulations, but we're not covered by Ofcom as such, which is why we can use the odd naughty word if we want to.
Well, yes, there is that. But because we're sensible people, I think, and I'm speaking for Russ and Phil and all of our other esteemed colleagues who broadcast on the midday show throughout the week, that we will obviously be sensible around elections and certainly give full transparency as to where you can find information for your area.
Any other questions about election stuff before we move on to something else?
Yes.
It was like we're doing a Q&A. Very happy to answer your but assuming you find it moderately interesting, and we're happy to answer your questions from a radio background.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I'm up to my eyes in election stuff at the moment, so but feel free to ask. But equally, I quite enjoy. I'm enjoying today. It's my one day off this week before the final straight into the elections. So
I had a hell of a busy last week. I was in Italy up to Wednesday last week. Mm-hmm. Came home, did the breakfast show on Radio Jackie on Thursday, then down into Kent. Where I stayed at an Airbnb with a very nice yoga teacher lady. Had a fascinating conversation with her.
Did you drag her along to your comedy gig?
Didn't drag her. She came willingly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she said it was really good. So that was one in Dover. Stayed the night, then did another one.
Did you pay her to say that?
Shut up. Did another one in Herne Bay. There was no point in driving all the way back. So it's a long old journey from London to the Folkestone area where I was staying, or down to the coast of Kent. Great comedian running both of them. Guy called AMJ, Adam Morrison Jones. He's fantastic.
Oh, he's a lovely chap.
He's a lovely chap, and he's bloody funny as well. Yes. I really like the cut up of his jib. So worth checking him out. Then I came back and did a big gig on Saturday for a place called the Lensbury Club, where they're having an afternoon, garden festival. Terribly posh. And one of the acts had to pull out. So they got Rory McManus in. Now, do you know who that is?
I do.
I do. All right, let's have a little in the chat window. Does anyone know who Rory McManus is? Anyone? I'll come back to that. We also
give
got
it a few seconds.
We also got because they needed someone to be drafted in, so I asked my friend and local singer-songwriter Beth Jacob to come along and perform a set, which she did for an hour. She did fantastically. Lovely girl, very talented singer-songwriter as well. And then it was
she writes her own stuff.
She does, and there was 2 headline sets from the Beatles as well. Well, from the Beatlemania.
I was going to say,
yeah, and it was funny
Beatles tribute act.
because Beth walked off stage. She's confronted by the Beatles just standing backstage. She's like, "Oh my God, it's the Beatles!" So the cameras came out, and she had photos taken with the Beatles. They're very good. I mean, they're not even from Liverpool. The tribute act. They were doing the Liverpool accent, and all that, and doing it very, very well.
Was that meant to be a Liverpool accent?
Yeah, it was close enough, wasn't it? Yeah, thanks.
Not bad.
So
Indian,
does anyone know who Rory McManus is? and it's got an odd spelling as well. I'm gonna pop it on here.
Rory McManus. Shall I give a bit of a clue?
No, don't.
No? Okay.
Oh, no, do you know, I can't even remember how it's spelled. I can't spell it. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. So does anyone know? Oh, we've got a comment. Let's have a look. Anyone know who Rory McManus is?
No, we're still talking about holidays.
Okay. Just come to that quickly. Graham says, my flight back from Paris on Saturday 9 days ago was cancelled. Had fun sorting out a revised journey back.
Do you know, that would absolutely throw me out. I'm normally very calm and collected, but because I hate flying, in order to get on to a flight, I have to have a very strict routine with myself to convince myself, psych myself up to get on the aircraft, and it involves taking calming tablets. Well, in a sense, because you go and buy them over the counter from a pharmacist. You go and buy it's like anti-sickness tablets, anti-nausea tablets, calming tablets. I've got these lozenges that help with your ears and things like that. But also they're calming. They're called Rescue Remedy, the herbal ones, and various other things. Invariably, in duty free, they have samples of spirits. So I had a sip of tequila before I got on the flight, so that helped as well. But if you have a delay or something, that totally throws me out, because it's like, right, I'm psyching myself.
Well, it breaks the routine.
It breaks the routine, exactly.
So Rory McManus, his dad's name is Declan McManus, also known as, AKA Elvis Costello. So I met Elvis Costello's son, and he was very, very good. So,
and was he playing a set then?
He did. Excellent. Yeah, he did first. Then Beth did the set, and then me and my esteemed colleague who's been on the show, Spin M Dex, DJ Emily Dexter, we absolutely stormed the end of it with an hour set and had them all raving on the field with some 90s dance bangers and other great selections of fine tunage. So that was fun. And then I had a long gig on Sunday as well from 12 till 5. Then got up this morning, did the show on Radio Jackie, and here I'm talking to you. I'm going to have a little sleep this afternoon. I've decided I've done at 1 o'clock.
He's getting old, you see.
I'm not getting
handle the pace.
Handle the pace. That's one hell of a pace to keep up for several days on end.
Well, yeah.
If you don't mind.
Some of us do 6 days a week and at least 8 hours a day.
I do too, kind of, mainly. I do a lot of stuff online. I work online as well. You know I do. I do. Don't just sit here for 2 hours a week talking and then, that's it.
Or 3 hours at Radio Jackie.
Or 3 hours at Radio Jackie. Oh, I'm going to hit the beach now. Well, there's no beaches around here, unfortunately.
Well, there's the Lido.
It's not really a beach, is it?
No, but it's water and it's nice.
Okay, fair enough.
Actually, they do concerts there, don't they, in July?
You mean the Hampton Pool?
Yeah.
Yes, they are there. So I'm going to see Kid Creole there later on this year. Kid Creole and the Coconuts. He always changes his coconuts. There's Kid Creole. No, but he does. And he always has 3 very beautiful women with him, but they keep changing. So
I see.
He keeps upgrading his coconuts.
Do you want a spade? You dig a little hole.
I'm not. I'm just saying he's got really nice coconuts. They just keep changing. He keeps changing his coconuts an awful long time. Keep a fresh supply of attractive coconuts coming through. The Kid Creole camp. Well, he just does. Sorry. Yeah.
Good music though.
Very good music. Yeah. Can you name some songs? Top of your head?
Oh.
Kid Creole, pop quiz.
Oh gosh, no, I can't.
Come on, Kimmy, pop master, Ken Bruce fan. Give us off the top of your head, Kimmy, 3 Kid Creole songs.
Is Longie busy with his OnlyFans?
Oh, shut up, Graham.
Didn't they do the Annie song? Was that Annie?
Shut. I'm asking.
Oh, I thought you were asking generally.
No, I'm asking Kimmy. Come on, Kimmy. Give us 3 Kid Creole songs.
Well, there must be more than I was going to say.
Oh, there's that one.
Okay.
Don't say it out loud.
Okay.
There's that one. That one. And
there you go.
3. Yeah, I've got 3. That's
so
it.
Kimmy's come up with one.
I'm a Wonderful Thing. Annie, I'm Not
That
Your
was
Daddy.
the one I was
Yes,
thinking
I'm a
of,
wonderful. Yeah. It's actually called I'm a Wonderful Thing. There's no baby in the title, Kimmy. Not being pedantic.
I see.
Yeah. Can you think of another one though? Bet you can't.
Julia's got the Annie, I'm Not Your Daddy as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most famous one of theirs.
Yeah. There's a very funny Peter Kay sketch where he's been a DJ in the corner of some shoddy church hall or something.
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember that one?
Yes.
And the name of his disco is the Vinyl Countdown. It's just so cheesy. And he plays Annie, I'm Not Your Daddy. And he goes, "Oh, sorry, I thought everyone knew." Can you? All right, come on, Kimmy or Julie. First one to the post. One more Kid Creole song, if you can.
Now I can't think of a third. So.
Oh, well done, Kimmy.
There
well
we go.
done, Stool Pigeon. Cha 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 cha. And there was also one called The Sex of It, which wasn't a massive hit, but they're the only 4 that I can name off the top of my head. So we got Wonderful Thing, Annie, I'm Not Your Daddy, Stool Pigeon, and The Sex of It. I could look up their discography, but I'd probably get a bit boring after that. Anyone see the football yesterday? You did. I'll let you talk about it for a bit, then I'll tell you my football story.
Your one football story. Yes, I thought, even though it was on terrestrial television, I said to a couple of friends, come on, let's go and watch it down the pub, which we did. It was very nice. It was nail biter. Well, to be honest, actually, could have done without.
Spelt pigeon wrong. I love the way you've corrected the spelling of pigeon, but spelt wrong now.
No, she hasn't.
Yes, she has.
No, she hasn't.
It's spelled Spelled.
No,
not spelt. That's a kind of pasta.
No, it's not.
It is.
No.
Right, I'm looking it up.
Go on then. Go and look it up. You can say spelt.
If I have to make a public apology, I will.
Okay. You can do spelt or you can do spelled. That's not correct spelling. It's fine. There you go. Read it out.
All right, Kimmy, you're right. I apologise. You can. I never knew that. I always thought it was spelled.
Very quick exercise in grammar for Longie.
Okay. No, Kimmy. No, I'm the one in the wrong here. Sorry. You're right. You're right to heckle me. Oh God, that's going to stop pack off, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
I was saying. What was I saying? Oh, about the football. Actually, because they scored within they scored in the 25th minute, Slovakia, and you just think, oh God, here we go again. And then it was like nothing happened. We had a shot on goal, which was disallowed. It was a very dubious offside. They said it was offside. I don't think it was offside. We were arguing about it for about 10 minutes because nothing else happened. Do you understand the offside rule? Yes.
I don't.
I'll send you, and granted, it is a bit long-winded.
I don't really care, to be honest. No, don't bother. I don't actually care that much.
But if I send you what's termed the girls' explanation for the offside rule, I think you'll get it a lot better, and then you can have a laugh about it.
Am I supposed to be pleased about that? That sounded ridiculously patronising. I'll send you the girls' version. You'll get that one. You'll get that one, dear.
I didn't say dear. I just said I'll send you the girls' version.
No, but you referred it in your voice.
I know, but the thing is there are plenty of blokes like yourself who are not really into football. So it's like, yeah, that was offside. What's that again? So I'll send it to you.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
That's all right. So, yes, a very dubious offside. We were disallowed a goal very early in the second half. But then there were long bouts of nothing happening. They might as well have just gone and had a cup of tea because our passing was shocking, quite frankly. The Slovakia, we let them in because we were all just standing there and they scooted it in. It was quite a good goal, to be fair to the Slovaks. And then, of course, what was exciting was, we're going out. You ended up because of extra time added on in the second half. So if there's stopped for injuries and yellow cards and various things, that's why you get the extra minutes at the end of each half. See, you switched off already.
I'm listening.
So you get the very strange quirk that in the time added on at the end of the second half, we scored. We scored in the 95th minute. There were 6 minutes added on. We scored on the clock. It was 94 minutes and 34 seconds, which is technically you're in the 35th minute. And that's when we scored the equaliser. It was Bellingham on his birthday. What a birthday present to himself to score the equaliser.
I didn't actually see the goal. I'll tell you why in a minute. But my friend Louis showed me at work this morning. It was a really, really good goal.
Yes.
And he did the run of glory away from it. And he mouthed, "Who else? Who else?" He was really bigging himself up there.
Well, yeah, because it was his birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Jude. Hey, Jude.
And then because it was then the end of the match and it was an equaliser, because it was a knockout match, you then have to go into extra time, which is 15 minutes each half, you see.
Oh, I've got a question about that.
Yes.
You can enlighten me because I was wondering about this last night.
Okay,
so 50 minutes each way.
15,
that's what I said. Is it sudden death? So if anyone scores, that's it, game over? Or does the whole 50 minutes have to be played?
Because England scored. Harry Kane, the captain, scored in the first minute of extra time. And we had to carry on the rest of the 29 minutes.
That answers my question.
That answers your question.
Thank you. Was it ever that, though? Was it ever sudden death? I'm sure it used to be.
There used to be, or there is in certain tournaments, a golden ball, but not that.
Didn't watch the football, says Karen, but I did watch the Formula One. That got a bit spicy. Lando Norris fan here, but please for Oscar P. Smiley, hashtag McLaren.
What she's referring to is right at the end, Verstappen and was it Hamilton? I'm sure Karen will tell me. Were involved in a crash towards the end.
Oh. So I'm out in Kingston last night, and it's a ghost town because they weren't showing the football, and it was great. But the thing is, my phone was kind of behind updating it, and I didn't know what time had been added on. All it said was Slovakia 1, England 0, and I'm like,
nil.
Same thing, isn't it? I think everyone knows what I mean.
Well, yeah, it just sounded like you said a very odd word that was
Naught.
Oh, naught. Okay.
I think I said
no.
England 0.
No.
No, England.
England, no. I thought it was a kind of couldn't be bothered to finish off the word. Yes, Max and Lando collided.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And it wasn't updating. And I'm like, are we still in? And then I was counting 90 minutes and it was gone 90 minutes. I'm like, oh God, we're out. Not that I care that much, but I did care a little bit last
You do
night.
follow the national team.
I follow the Euros and the World Cups. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That does interest me.
I think that's a lot of people who, even if they're not into football.
And I would watch the semi-finals and the final, if assuming England or even Scotland were in it. Actually, probably not Scotland, just England. But anyway, but I'm interested to know who wins. But anyway, dead silence. And then suddenly, just from over the horizon, I heard this, like a big group of people. There was either some, tantric sex party or something going on over the back, or
collective belch.
Yeah, no, it was a howl. It wasn't a whoa. It was a so it was a howl. I'm like, no, but then they did kind of tell me it was possibly still in play, and then it was all silent again, and then suddenly the whole town you could hear was cheering. and then Three Lions, it's coming home, football's coming home, started playing, and then the pub started turning out, all these people walking along doing that. So I said to one of them, I guess we're still in then, and he went, yes, and his mate went, well, just about. So we're playing Switzerland on Saturday. Think we're going to bring it home this year?
I don't know. I think we still need to up our game because, as I say, they produce some spectacular moments. But
that Jude Bellingham moment. If you get a chance, go back and watch that goal. It's an over the head, sort of back kick.
Yes, back flip kick.
Back flip,
yes.
Flip kick over his head.
Really, really good.
Who else?
And then Harry Kane setting the example as the captain. I do think he's a good captain. I also think that Gareth Southgate is getting a lot of, in my opinion, unfair slack because he's done very well for us up till now. And yes, it's been quite a boring tournament. We are not the only country that's where the managers are getting rubbish and heckling levelled at them.
I think that comes as part of the territory.
Well, exactly. So
when it was cruel enough when he missed that penalty back in the 90s, and the joke that was going around was what's the quickest way to leave Wembley via the Southgate?
Yes.
Which was cruel, but a little bit funny. But apparently he's a wonderful manager because if he's felt that, I can't imagine what the pressure is like to take a penalty. We talk about mental health.
Yes.
And when the whole nation is watching. And then missing it, and then suddenly the whole country hates you. They don't even know you.
No, no, this is it. And it was the same with David Beckham.
Yes, I'll come on to that in a sec. Just finish what I was saying. And if you felt that agony and ecstasy, you're going to have a lot more empathy. So apparently he's really good with the boys, and he really cares about them and all that sort of thing, which is great. That's the kind of manager that you want. And like Liz, very much so. And what Liz was saying about David Beckham, there was the documentary on that. It was on Netflix, wasn't it? And literally the whole country hated him. He was getting trolled. Even Tony Blair, who was Prime Minister at the time, slagging off David
Yeah.
Beckham. So you turn on the TV one morning and suddenly the whole country, including the Prime Minister at the time, is having a go at you, and that's, we talk about mental health. That's not great for mental health. It's quite an achievement to be even in that position in the first place, to be able to take a penalty for England. That's a privilege, really, isn't it?
Well, exactly. Now I've got a lot
Can we read that?
Yes, give me a second. We've got quite a lot of family visiting from abroad at the moment, staying at my dad and stepmum's house, and some of them have come over from Denmark. This is significant and relevant. Some have come over from Denmark, which obviously a European country. Some have come over from Germany. To escape the football, arguably, because that's where the Euros are going on at the moment. And obviously we're here in England and our team is still in it as well. Nobody had a good word to say about their managers. Nobody had a good word to say about their national team. Like, that one's not playing. Oh, they're not playing. And the thing is that the one that always annoys me, and I find it quite amusing, they're not playing as a team. Well, if you think about it, generally, your domestic season as a footballer, you spend 9 months of the year playing with, say, Arsenal or Bayern Munich or, Borussia Dortmund or all these different teams, individual domestic teams in your domestic league.
And you get used to it. And it becomes, I don't want to say, I don't mean complacent, but you become, you know each other, you know each other's moves.
You get into a rhythm, and that's how you win the tournament or don't win the tournament or otherwise. And then for 2 months of a season, when the domestic season is not happening, you're expected to suddenly about turn, meet a load of colleagues from your own country. If you think about it, Arsenal is not just made up of British footballers. Neither is Manchester City. All these different places.
Well, nowhere is.
Well, no, exactly. Bellingham plays in, I want to say, he plays abroad, and the team escapes me. I want to say Borussia Dortmund, but I don't think it's that. Have a look up. But he certainly hadn't been playing for a British team. And yet you get about 3 or 4 weeks to bring everything together, have a practice. Real Madrid, there we go, Spanish team. I knew it wasn't playing for a British team at the moment, thank you. But then you have 3 or 4 weeks to, get out of your domestic mindset and get into your national mindset. And it's a huge privilege to play for your country, but equally, it's a totally different style of play. And you've got much less time to do that. And you only do it once a year, once every 2 years. Yeah,
but we don't think about that. All we want is our team to win and these people to be performing, like performing animals, to do what we want them to do. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's not that easy. And then and Dave is kind of agreeing with us, because never seen a substitute taken from the stands, armchairs on the pubs. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Yeah, like you, Derek down the pub with your 4 pints of Stella inside you. Could you do any better? In his head he could, but in reality, probably completely different.
No.
Can we read that from Graham? I'd rather not. Actually.
No, we'll leave that one. I think
we'll leave that one. Getting a little bit political there, Graham. So we got.
Well, it's not about being political, but I think that's Graham's opinion.
Yes, and he's exactly entitled to it.
Yes.
We may not agree with him, but we will defend his rights. As I said,
I went down the pub last night and we watched the football. When we did eventually win, it sounded a bit like this. There you go.
And I was in a different pub where they weren't showing the football, and when we won, it sounded like this. It's the Midday Show. It's Neil and Liz. Midday 43. Hello, good afternoon. Here we go. Oh, Dave, I like your thinking on this. Replica shirts are replicas for a reason. Oh, nice. Oh, I like the cut of that jib. Yeah, that's good. Good comment, Dave. Thank you very much. What are we going to talk about now, then? We've done politics. Glastonbury.
Did you see it over the weekend? Were you there? We know somebody. I know a few people there. My sister Nicola was there. Emily Kate was there.
Emily Kate Owen, who's presented on this show before, was at Glastonbury. I might try and get her on for a little spot on Wednesday to tell us what it was like. Paloma Faith was there, wasn't she?
Sally and Marcus and friends of mine were there. They were stewarding.
Oh, right,
which
okay.
is really interesting.
Paloma wasn't. She was performing because that's what she does. She's not a very good steward. Obviously, Cold, well, she might be, but I think that's what.
Being a steward was one of my student jobs, so she could have done that.
Probably moved up in the world a little bit since then. One would hope.
What was your student job?
Newspaper runner.
And?
1p a paper. And I used to work at Safeways in New Malden.
Well, there you go.
Do you know how much I used to earn there?
10p.
£1.19 an hour.
Really?
And I felt rich at the time, yeah.
How long ago was that? Was that before decimalisation?
I was, so I can tell you, I was 16, so it was 68, 78, 88, 84, 1984.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we go.
I wasn't allowed to work at that age.
No, you weren't. No.
Barely alive.
No, you'd have been very young. But you'd have been.
Yes.
No, you'd have only been in your late teens at that point.
Very funny.
Anyway, so yeah, Glastonbury, Coldplay were there. Oh God, they were getting slagged off in the Daily Star today. Why do Coldplay always save all their boring songs for the last hour? Oh
dear.
God.
It shows to me a distinct lack of cultural appreciation. Actually, I like Coldplay. I like their music. I think they're very clever. They had played, before playing Glastonbury, they're doing quite a lot of festivals this year in the UK. And obviously they're very big on sustainability as well. They're trying to up their carbon footprint by doing various things to help lower their carbon footprint, but make it better is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, indeed.
So they played at Radio 1's Big Weekend, which was in Luton. And there was a campaign that got going.
What did they want to hold the big weekend? Of all the towns hold your big weekend in Luton.
Well, it wasn't in the town centre, although you could hold
God for that.
It was a very nice place called Stockwood Park in Luton.
Oh, right.
Yes. So acres of land, lots of space and everything else. Radio 1 picks all sorts of different places around the country. Told her that they've held it in Coventry before now, and actually it's really good, because you might say, "Oh, what do you go for Coventry for?" You know, when I was in school,
I didn't say that. I just said about Luton.
Well, yes, but when I was in school, going to Coventry was quite derogatory as well as a term. So,
well, that means not talking to someone.
Yes, exactly.
Sending them to Coventry, which is probably not as bad as being sent to Luton. Graham says Cyndi Lauper sounded terrible. I didn't even know she was there, actually. Okay, did she do all the hits? Girls Just Want to Have Fun and all that. True Colours, that was hers, wasn't it, as well? I didn't recognise most of Shania Twain's songs in the Legends slot, didn't you? Did she do some new stuff? I didn't see it. Did she do some new stuff, Graham, or was it all the big ones?
I haven't caught up with Shania Twain's. I haven't caught up with Shania Twain's slot yet, or set, I should say. But Cyndi Lauper, it was widely reported at the time and since then that there were technical problems with her set, which I know some cynics will say, "Oh, they always blame technical problems," but no, that was
no. Technical problems can be a real thing.
Yeah.
They really can, and they can throw a performer off as well. Again, if they're in their rhythm and their pattern. Again, if you work with the same sound team, that you'll just get to know how each other like it, and that's what makes a good team. But if it's someone new, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Some people levelled a bit of criticism, which I thought was unfair, at Avril Lavigne, that she sounded a bit different
Why
to
do
before.
people have to be so complicated?
Well, I know. Oh dear. But actually, she had, I don't think it was throat cancer, but she's had Lyme's disease, and she did have an operation on her throat. So there was a period where she couldn't sing at all and was worried she'd never sing again. So the fact that she's back on stage and did a set, fair play to her. That was absolutely
Who else
brilliant.
was there that we can talk about?
There was Coldplay. There was, oh gosh, I'm trying to think now because I talked about them, but Camila Cabello,
The Wurzels, were they there?
SZA. Nobody seemed to like SZA's set very much. That was last night.
Oh, yes, Emily Kate was talking about that. And I must admit, I'd never heard of SZA. I heard of SZA Sisters, but that's different. No, I haven't heard of SZA, but I'm sure Emily E.K. will tell me when I ask her. Yeah, I might have to get her on the show for a little Glastonbury report, actually, on Wednesday. See if I could do it. I'm just going to check, actually, see if I've got a guest on Wednesday. Because I've got some quite nice ones lined up, but I'm just checking when they're in.
And Russ will be back on Friday with Phil Dave, I believe, as well.
Yes, indeed. I don't have a guest at the moment, but I might have someone by
Wednesday.
By Wednesday, yes. I know a few people that want to be on and come and have a chat with us. So, yeah, I'll try and find a decent guest. Anything you guys want me to talk about? Any subjects you're interested in? We can do a bit of a deep dive on Wednesday. I mean, do ask, because that's what we're here for. We can signpost and give information and chat about stuff, or just something that you find interesting. Paul Heaton from the beautiful South. He's never going to be bad, is he?
No.
He's a genius absolute genius songwriter, Paul Heaton. I really, really like his stuff.
Dua Lipa, of course, headlined on Friday.
Dua Lipa.
I do like Dua Lipa.
I like Dua Lipa as well. Yeah, she's just churning out the hits at the moment, isn't she? I mean, she's just hit after hit after hit, and they're all good, aren't they? And she's not a one-trick pony as well. They're different. She's got a lovely one called We're Good. It's more on the softer kind of ballad side of things, and that's a really nice one.
Afro beats. They were.
Afrobeats.
Yes.
Ah.
And there you can see the headline. I'm just sort of double checking who else was on the bill. Cyndi Lauper's Glastonbury set beset by sound problems.
She looks quite old then, doesn't she?
Well, she's got a mouth wide open. Actually, she looks a bit like Cruella de Vil.
I wouldn't say girls just want to have fun. It's more kind of,
No.
women on saga holidays want to have fun.
Well, you know all about that.
Sorry. I've got a comedy gig on Wednesday down in Brighton.
I'm not old enough for saga holidays. Can I just point that out?
And neither am I.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You only have to be over 55.
That's actually really embarrassing. Well, I shan't be booking
And he sings about saga holidays as well. You want to ask him about Mabel.
in my comedy set, yeah. But I'm
Speaking of comedy.
not allowed to do that. Hey, yeah, Wednesday I've got a gig. We've got an open mic gig for me in Brighton on Wednesday, and an open mic gig which you're doing actually. You're singing, aren't you?
I am singing.
I know the songs you're singing because you printed out the lyrics and left them around the house.
Well,
I might sabotage it and change some of the words.
It's a good job I know the words. Do you know what? It's more a case of like you know the words to your Hot 10 comedy set.
Mm-hmm.
I know the words to the songs that I've been invited to sing at an open mic night in New Malden at the Glass House. Anyone who's particularly or generally local, southwest London, kind of Surrey way, wants to come along.
Ouch!
Oh, that's rude, Graham.
No, that's
Behave
unfair,
yourself.
Graham, because it might actually be technical problems. She might be able to sing. I did go and see Blondie, though, to be fair, maybe 10 years ago, and her voice certainly wasn't as strong as it used to be. I must agree on that. And it was a buzz to see Blondie, I must admit, but the voice wasn't quite anywhere near as strong as it used to be. But Cyndi Lauper, the jury's out for me because it actually, a technical problem, literally, it sounds like a cop-out and an excuse, but honestly, it can really, really throw people. If they're knocked out of their flow, it can really throw people. You see it on the comedy stage, something happen, there'll be a heckle and a comedian's thrown. You know what I mean? Just
and they look like rabbit in the headlights, and you feel so sorry for people that way.
I don't. I chuck tomatoes at them.
I wonder where they go from.
But the comedy clubs are a lot less brutal than they used to be. There's a legendary one. It's still going now, but it's changed. It's called Up the Creek. And the compere there was a guy that lived on a boat, I think, actually. And his name was Malcolm Hardy. And if you're in the comedy circles, everyone's heard of Malcolm Hardy because he was a legend, because he was so bloody mean. And what he would do, because there's open mic nights and then there's professional nights. So sometimes in the professional nights, you have an open spot where someone new comes along and tries 5 minutes. But this is one new 5-minute spot, one fledgling act amongst absolute professionals. You know, it'd be like putting a kid in a playground up against Jude Bellingham and expecting him to play football, which is not a bad analogy. And what he would do is bring out a bell, like a little bell, and go ding ding ding. What time is it? And the crowd knew what was coming. They went dinner time, and then they started chanting, "Bring on the Christians, bring on the Christians." And no offense to any Christians that are listening, but that is what used to happen, and it was brutal, absolutely brutal. It's calmed down now. It's calmed down now, but it really was a free for all.
It's still quite.
Those Bermondsey boys, they didn't take any shit. They didn't like something, and they'd tell you.
They're still quite brutal because you did a gong out, didn't you?
Oh, I did blackout. For
blackout.
The first 2 minutes of the 5-minute set, you're safe. And then after 2 minutes, they've given people in the crowd cards. Get one card, you get one red light. 2, you get 2. 3, all three. The panel of 3 red lights is lit up, and the stage goes dark, and you're blacked out. So you have to beat the blackout. I was 19 seconds off. I got 4 minutes and 41 seconds. I think because I used the word whore. They didn't like that, but it's a comedy club. I mean, I'm supposed to be able to use rude words, aren't I?
I think it was more the fact that when the first one came on, you were like, no, and therefore highlighting
I hate the way you misquote me like that. I did not do it in such an effeminate camp manner. I'm like, no, you'll never know, and they will never know the punchline now. That person that put that card up after that line will never know what the punchline was. And if you happen to be watching this, it was really worth waiting for. Your loss, your life is going to be a little bit less complete than it potentially could have been because of your ill thought out and hasty actions that day.
Yeah, I mean, we do wind him up something chronic, but he's quite good.
Thanks. Yeah, moderately good. Russ came along to see one of my gigs, actually. It was lovely to see him there, and he said he enjoyed it. Mind you, Russ's stand-up is fantastic. I've only got sort of 10 or 15 minutes there, pushing 20 now, but I mean, Russ is... It's an hour.
We went along to see it was 90 minutes, I think.
We did, yes.
At Jermaine Street Theatre in London.
Lovely little theatre, and it was very, very good, I have to say. Very, very good. I know he's a bit self-deprecating, our esteemed colleague Russ, but I will say it in his absence. I'll kind of It's like kind of reverse gossiping, saying something good behind someone's back,
Oh,
and,
yes.
and it gets back to them. He was brilliant,
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. There
Yeah.
again, he's a veteran broadcaster and celebrant and presenter, so he probably would be something
He's a man of many
wrong
talents.
if he wasn't by now. Let's face it.
But yes, I'm also. So that's Wednesday. You're in Brighton. Where in Brighton are you?
Hang on, Pack. What's this? This place called the Gladstone. I'm just lucky I didn't have that system with old girlfriends. What system are you talking about, Graham?
I think he means the sound system.
I don't know what you mean. I don't get the analogy. Help me understand, Graham. Come on, take to your keyboard. You keyboard warrior. What do you mean by that? Put a bit of meat on the bone so I know how to be rude to you.
So the Gladstone in Brighton for your comedy spot. Are you doing a hot 10? What are you doing?
I'm doing my hot 10.
You're doing your hot 10. So if you're in the Brighton or Hove area or along the south coast, you can go and see Neil Wednesday night, 7 o'clock start.
Yeah, probably a little bit later, about 7:30.
7:30.
Yes.
And then
I don't know when I'm on.
Thursday from about 7:45 at the Glass House in New Malden. They have an open mic night. It's always very popular. So if you wanted to go and take part in that, you need to contact Stealing Scarlet, a local band as well.
Stealing Scarlet, a local band, Double E Stealing, and her name is Scarlet Black.
Yes.
On Facebook, if you want to go and be a part of
that. But she's the they are the band that organise it. You see. So
card system. One card. So one card's the warning. 2 and 3, you're off.
I mean, that's not a bad idea.
Some of my exes, they'd have had 3 cards in about 10 seconds. It's like, oh God, what have I done? Can I just hold all 3 up at once and just, keep it simple? Might as well make
Are you talking about you doing it to them or them doing it to you?
Me doing it to them.
Oh.
Or possibly the other way around. I don't know.
Well,
perhaps I'm not the perfect boyfriend after all, contrary to popular belief.
Nobody is perfect.
I know.
That's the point.
I know, indeed.
It's allowed.
Perfectly imperfect.
Exactly.
That's nearly it from us today.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for your heckles. Thank you for your barracking.
I'm curious now.
I'll quickly tell you the story. I managed to offend a whole. When I do the open mics, this particular one, it's all musicians generally, and I'm generally the only person that does comedy, and they're fine, and I've got to know some of them, and there's some really good musicians. That was this one, but there's another one locally where I went along, and I know the lady that runs it, and she is lovely, but it's a different set of people, and they're a little bit more cliquey, shall we say, and and older, and they do these things like they get up and do their Nina Simone cover, and they do it well, and it's and it's nice and
you're feeling good,
and people getting together and all that sort of thing. Then I get up trying out new stuff, and I'm trying out my filthiest stuff, and it really was filthy. And I know we're not government. No, worse than that.
Worse than that.
Worse than that. Worse than that.
Saga.
No, worse than that. It wasn't the hot 10 new stuff.
Oh, okay.
Right. And they're literally sitting there with their heads in their hands. There's one man at the front with his head in it, and this other woman is going and looking round.
What did you say to her?
I didn't.
What did you sing to her?
I was singing. I have to go off air to tell you this. I was singing the song about.
Oh, that
one.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Which has nothing to do with hanging out the washing. I'll leave it there. But she was looking around for validation from all these other people with this look of absolute horror. And the point was, a couple of friends that had come with me, they were laughing so hard. Not at me, not at the comedy I was doing, but what was going on in the room. And everyone else is just looking there in utter shock and horror. And they're just laughing at the free entertainment, grab your popcorn, the look on these shocked people's faces. I can't imagine the local musicians WhatsApp group the next day, what they said about me.
Well, maybe they just didn't understand what you were singing about. Maybe they really thought it was hanging out the washing.
No, they did. They understood. they understood. I can tell by the look on their faces, they understood. We're back on Wednesday. I'll be here on Wednesday. Hit me up on the socials if there's anything you particularly like to talk about. I'm going to try and get Emily Kate on for a little Glastonbury update, and we should talk.
She doesn't know it yet, so
No, she doesn't know it yet, but I will be asking her about that. We're trying to get guests on from Women's Centre in Sutton as well, which do back to mental health for a second, very, very important work for women that have been in controlling and gaslighting relationships, which is a horrible thing. But they do incredible work. So going to be hopefully getting them on fairly soon. Maybe I can get them for Wednesday. I don't know. And if I can, I'll certainly get them on. And,
quick hello to Amanda, who's listening as well.
Amanda,
she's not commenting, but she's listening.
Oh, she's lurking. We get that. We get lurkers. It's just a little bit shy. You don't have to be shy, Amanda. It's only us. We're not going to jump through the screen and bite you. Go on.
Although he might do later on.
Stick a comment on. We'll say hello to you. Is that your mate, Amanda?
That is.
I know who you mean. Yeah, you can comment, Amanda. We're not going to bite you. Got nothing to fear, my dear. Nothing to fear. We're not going to bite you. But that's it. So I'll see you on Wednesday.
Yes, I've got to go and do my day job on Wednesday, as it's the day before the election. So
yes, and it's always funny actually, because at Radio Jackie they do these shifts for people to cover the election, and they get the late night shift and they're on in the middle of the night, and I think, oh, you got that one this year. Oh, you got that. They're going to be grumpy the next morning when I come in. Had a good night.
Well, this is it. You come in bright and breezy about 6 a.m.
I wouldn't say breezy. I would say bright, actually.
Hello! And they're like, ooh.
Yeah, I come in at 7:10. Sorry, 6.
What time was that again?
Nothing, I didn't say that. But it's been lovely. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in. Good afternoon to Graham and Dave and Kimmy and RVB and Amanda, who's watching, and Karen.
Lovely to share the midday show with you today.
We nearly lost the computer there. And absolutely lovely to spend this hour of our day together with mutual barracking and discussing of light-hearted topics. And we'll be back on Wednesday. From myself, Neil Long.
And me, Liz Saul.
Very good afternoon to you. Take care.
See ya.
Cheesy smile while we end the programme.